Hey everybody, Parker here. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a little bit longer video. I'm going to be going over a new bill that is going to be affecting our landlord and tenant population to a great degree. It is House Bill 2372, which is the removal of no-cause evictions within the first year of tenancy. While this sounds like a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo, this is actually something that is going to have a dramatic impact on the landscape of renting property as well as managing property in the state of Oregon. The reason being is the no-cause eviction, for those that aren't super familiar with that, is a mechanism that landlords and property managers have to end the business relationship between a tenant and a landlord if the relationship is not working well. If there are any issues with damage to the property, danger to other people, just multiple infractions, things like that, a no-cause eviction can be issued, and it allows people to part ways without having a formal court eviction filed on their record. This allows that person to be able to go and rent another property and move on with their life. This is a very useful tool because if you've had an eviction on your record or you've had to deal with anything like that, evictions make renting so much harder, and it's unbelievably difficult for people to go to a property manager or a formal place of business with an eviction on their record and get a place to live. It's not fair to tenants if this goes through, and it makes their lives a lot harder. One of the big reasons why it makes life harder for everybody is because landlords, if this does go through, will no longer be able to mitigate and keep open these quality lines of communication for resolving issues. If there are a problem, usually you can issue a corrective notice, have that on file, and you can move forward and try and make sure that tenancy works correctly. But if these issues do start to mount, you only have the option to have 3 infractions within the first 12 months in order to file an actual court eviction to remove somebody within that first 12 months, which makes the tenant's life exponentially harder because there's no longer corrective measures. Everything is a simply documented issue, and if they continue to mount, it allows people, well, landlords and property managers, to file a court-ordered eviction. And that's a problem. It puts a lot of strain on the landlord-tenant relationship because there aren't any open communication lines. It's simply just a material fact of this went against the lease, and if I do not document this, there's opportunity for waiver to be created, and then you're seeing issues in court where people would not be able to be removed from the home if there were any major problems, because there has to be documented issues 3 times within a 12-month period versus being able to be corrected or that tenancy to be ended within the first 12 months if those issues start kind of right off the bat. One of the other problems that we're going to face because of this bill is a lot of private landlords are going to simply sell homes. The overregulation of the landlord side of the relationship causes a lot of fear within landlords, and they don't see the benefit of having rental property in a place where they are starting to lose the rights of possession to assets that they own. That means that people that own these properties are going to simply switch asset classifications. If you're not really familiar with that means they're going to sell the house. And if you're living in Central Oregon, especially Oregon, a majority of our rental stock is not apartments, it's not duplexes, triplexes, or investment property. It's single-family homes. And in today's market, investors typically aren't buying single-family homes. You're looking at regular people are buying those, which means that our rental stock is going to dramatically decrease, causing there to be an increase in rent prices. Less supply equals higher demand equals higher prices, which then is much more difficult on our tenant population. It's going to be very devastating to see these rent prices continue to rise. And it's going to eventually just price out people from our markets that are essential to, running our towns and running our cities. If we can't figure out a way to increase our housing stock, we're going to be continually facing these issues of rising rents. I know that in Oregon we do have our rent caps, which do help a little bit with that, but really we're trying to over-legislate a supply issue versus a landlord issue. yes, I'm going to concede there are bad landlords out there that do take advantage of certain things, but a majority of landlords want to keep their good tenants. And if these kinds of laws continue to go through, people are going to just simply, they're going to move their assets, and they're going to, well, remove themselves from the rental business, which doesn't really benefit anybody, because without quality rentals and the prices just continuing to rise, we are hamstringing our local economies. We're not allowing our servers, our nurses, our general population to be able to thrive within Central Oregon. And this bill is really going to be another nail in the coffin of a quality, thriving rental industry that we have, or we used to have, here in Central Oregon. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. I would love to go over what's going on. I look at it as a very big problem that we are facing today, and we need to make sure that we have mechanisms in place that we protect both our landlords and our tenants, but we need to make sure that we have quality communication open, and that we aren't going to be just punitively punishing people for having a bad working relationship. Without these no-cause evictions, there are going to be a significant uptick in, well, patrolling of properties. There's going to be a significant uptick in eviction proceedings, and it's going to be very hard for people that have had any issue to find themselves a new place to live. The bill states that this is a way to combat homelessness, because they think that the no-cause evictions in today's market cause homelessness. But really what's going to happen is evictions are going to rise. People aren't going to be able to find places to live. Rental stock is going to be going down, and that is going to increase our levels of either people just leaving the state, or they're not going to be able to find a place to live. That's a problem. And I think that's something that we need to combat, and we need to really make our voices heard on this issue, because this isn't just a one-way thing of landlord versus tenant. This is a whole environment, and if we can't get everything to work together on this, unfortunately, the tenants are going to be affected at an exponential rate comparatively to the owners. And it's just not right, and it's just not fair. So we need to make our voices heard to our local legislator that this is a bad idea, and it's going to hurt more people than it helps. So like I said, the description of what's going on is going to be in the video description. I hope you guys have a great day. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to be a resource. I'm Parker, I'm selling Central Oregon, and I'm keeping you up to date as to what's going on in the Central Oregon housing market. Have a great day.